Okay, welcome to the first webinar of our e-learning course. All attendees are there, 15 attendees, actually 16 unfortunately only, but I think we should start now. My name is Dirk Hangstein. Welcome to everybody of you. I'm happy to see you here. I hope that you will enjoy our webinar, will enjoy the presentation of Dr. Ismail Albaz, the head of the RCC project in Amman, and Mr. Hans Hartung, who is a wastewater expert. He will talk a bit about a case example in Namibia. Moderated is everything by our friend and colleague Mostafa Biat from Morocco. So don't mind if you want to clarify or comment something in Arabic. Mostafa will be easily able to deal with this also. Okay, our today's agenda, I will just show you a bit. I hope you all can see my screen. We will have, as I said, Dr. Ismail Albaz, a short presentation of the website from Jordania and the e-learning course, and the presentation of Mr. Hartung, all enriched by questions and so on. And you can download all presentations from either from Dr. Albaz and from Hans here, or from the webinar directly as handouts. You can see that there are two handouts in the GoToWebinar control panel, and you can just download them. It's no problem. You can do this during the presentation. You can do this later on. It's no problem. Okay, enough for now. I hand over to my colleague and to our estimated colleague Mostafa Biat, who will also welcome you. Mostafa, go ahead, please.
Thank you very much, Dirk. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello to all participants to this second round of the topic dealing wastewater and its relation with climate change and how wastewater technologies impact the climate. So first, I would like to congratulate the participants and also the GIZ for the success of the first round that took place a few months ago, and now are looking forward for another success of this second round of the course. So this is first webinar. It's mainly introductory webinar. Dirk already presented the agenda, and now I think at the right moment we will explain how to deal with questions and answers. So now I think as also I will play the role of moderator and also timekeeper. And I think it's high time to give the floor to Dr. Ismail Albaz to introduce himself first, to introduce GIZ, and to introduce the projects, the wastewater and climate change. Ismail Albaz, go ahead.
Thanks very much, Mustafa, and thank Dirk for the introduction. And also from my side, I would like to welcome all participants to this very important e-learning training course in decentralized wastewater management, taking in consideration.
Hello, Ismail.
Ismail has a little problem with his microphone. I just we realized this before when we were training this webinar. Ismail, please check the cable. It's only the cable which is no, he's offline. So he has a problem with obviously problems with the internet connection. So I would propose to that we change the agenda a bit. So I will start and hopefully Dr. Albers will come later.
Okay, I think the agenda is also very flexible, so perhaps
Yeah,
Dick,
no problem.
you can go for the presenting the course platform and make a tour on all the functionalities of the website.
Yes, okay. I will do so. Okay. The center of all activities, I hope you can see my screen. The center of all activities is the ACC project homepage of GIZ and the project itself. So if you go on there, you can see all the backgrounds of the program. You can also see the capacity development courses which are planned for now. And you can also have, if there are any questions, just go here and you can find more or less the most solutions to your questions. But if there are questions arising which are not answered here, please don't hesitate to call me or call Ahmed Zob from GIZ or Ismail Abbas from GIZ, just to clarify. We will be happy to answer your all questions. Very important, as you can see here on the front, on the upper side of the page, is the login. And when you click here, you come to the normal login page, and you can add your login here. It always starts with ACC2 and the password, which is individual to you. Click to login, click to How Treatment Technologies, and you come to the classroom. In the classroom, you are presented with all materials, also of the first course, but also the second course. The second course starts here, as you can see. So we left this, we just asked GIZ Amman, and they thought that it might be helpful for you to just have the whole content available here. We will also have on this page the content of the course itself to download as a PDF. It's quite easy and quite comfortable for you to make it comfortable. Just 2 words about the discussion. You can see here the webinars, and you can also always find the download of the presentations, the actual download of the presentations here. You can find the registration, and after the webinar, you will also find the video, a YouTube video recording of the webinar itself. So for your reference, it might be quite helpful. The other thing is we find it very important that you update your personal profile here. So don't mind if there is, please complete your personal profile. You just have to complete this. And if you click on edit your personal data, only your own profile will open. You cannot change anything else but your own profile. You can add a picture here, and you can change the passport. But you're absolutely required to do this. Should you do this not, we are at one with GIZ Amman that you will be deleted after the 2nd week if you don't react to this. Okay, but it's quite easy for you. And if there are problems, just ask us. There's a little file here, contact your tutor. In fact, you contact me or Mr. Hartung, and you can add your name, your question, and your email address. It's very easy for you to go here and come to us. So 1 word also, I hope this is just enough. one word regarding the webinar. You can all see the screen. I have a lot of additional tools which you might not have, dashboard or attendees or something like this. But what you have is the audio, and you can deal with the audio settings here. And you can also download the handouts here. And Mostafa Biad will explain you how you can raise your hand and can contribute to the discussion in the next time. Okay, I think that's should be enough for this first round from my side. I hope that Ismail is now online again. Ismail, maybe you can share your presentation now. I will promote you as a presenter, and please don't forget, Ismail, when you are presenter, just click on the GoToWeb, this meeting panel, a little show my screen. This is also important because otherwise we will also only see the default window.
Screen.
So thanks again for present. Okay, we can now see your screen.
Okay, then I will. That's right. Then I will start my presentation.
Yes, and
is
please click
okay
on.
Now?
Yes, it's okay now. Just click on full mode, present, or a full screen. So that we.
We start to.
We can only see your email. Okay, yeah. And now click on present.
Okay, and now the full mode. So now I think it's okay. Huh? The screen is okay.
That's perfect.
I can start.
It's perfect now.
Presentation now.
Mustafa and Ismail.
Yes. Okay. Shall I start now? Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Again, from my side, I would like to welcome all, and this is really our pleasure to have all participants now joining us for this very interesting e-learning training course. As it mentioned at the beginning from our colleagues, this training course is organized by the GIZ with support from our colleagues, Dirk Margraf Publisher, and with our cooperation partner, Borda. And the GIZ is doing such activities on behalf of the German government. And just to give you short information about who is the GIZ. We are a German non-profit organization owned by the German government and working under a private law. And our main intention is to support the German government in implementing their international cooperation objectives. The GIZ is active in more than 130 countries in the world, and commissioned mainly by the German Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, the BMZ, with around 2.1 billion euros. This is the information from 2015. And mainly this fund is coming from the German Federal Ministry for Cooperation and Development, and we have other funds, 80% from the BMZ and 20% from other donors. Which is around 300 different public and private organizations who are supporting the GIZ. We have a big number of employees, around 17,000 employees. And from that, around 3,000 employees in Germany, and the major part of the employees, around 12,000 are national personnel from our different partner countries. I would like also to give you short information about the GIZ in Jordan, what we are doing in Jordan, within the different portfolios which we have. You can see here in this picture the different activities in millions of euros yearly, which we are investing in supporting the Jordan government in different sectors. mainly in the water sector. As you can see, around 46 billion are going in the water sector. And the second is the waste, solid waste management. And we are also active in employment and in education. So this is just to brief you where we are active here in Jordan. Regarding the ECC project, is one of these 12 different projects within the water portfolio where we are focusing on the decentralized wastewater management. And the main objectives of the GIZ of the ECC project, which is started in 2014, is to support the Jordanian counterpart in increasing their capacities in decentralized wastewater management, especially dealing with climate change adaptation. And the second objective and main activities from our side is to highlight measures for between decentralized wastewater management and climate change adaptation in order to support the implementation of the Jordanian water strategy, and at the end to provide the Jordanian partner with good practices in regards of decentralized wastewater management and reuse, and also to demonstrate such kind of activities here in Jordan. We are working with different partners in implementing the ECC project. As you can see, the main implementation partner is the Ministry of Water and Irrigation and the Jordanian Water Authority, WACH, and also with their other institutions like Yarmouk Water Company in the north of Jordan. We have Eco Hotel in South Jordan as a cooperation partner, RSN, and of course we work closely with Borda. The focus of our activities, the project area, it is in the northern part, northern governorate, Irbid in Jordan, which is strongly affected by the Syrian refugees and talking about scattered settlements. And the other location is in the south, the Dana biosphere. And at the same time, we are doing other activities in regards to capacity development in countrywide. The approach of the ECC project is to pilot different decentralized wastewater treatment plants, and also regarding the sludge drying, sludge disposal, sludge treatment. So we are piloting one sludge drying reed bed in Wadi Hassan in Irbid governorate, and the treatment plant, the decentralized treatment plant, will be constructed in the south. Beside these piloting activities, we are also developing tools for replication, like tender documents, construction manual, operation manual, and at the same time, also we are supporting, as I mentioned also in the other slide, the implementation of the Jordanian water policy, especially the decentralized wastewater management policy, which was issued in 2016. We develop also capacities in this regard, and beside that, we are running other activities like development of business models for operation and maintenance of decentralized wastewater treatment. Regarding the different pilot areas, we just to start with Wadi Hassan in the north, and we will focus on number 3 and 4. Unfortunately, regarding the decentralized wastewater treatment, so in Wadi Hassan there will be only sludge drying reed bed due to some budget constraints. So the focus will be the implementing of a pilot for sludge drying reed bed as one of the new activities here in Jordan that could be taken in consideration in the future for other treatment plants in the country, and also the training of the operator of Yarmouk Water Company in regard to the sludge drying reed bed. In the south, we are piloting one treatment plant in Finan, Eco Hotel. This is around 200 kilometers from Amman. I think the participants know that very well. And so here the focus on the treatment plant itself with 10 cubic meter per day. So there will be also at the same time reuse of the effluent for landscape irrigation. We will also reuse the biogas for kitchen, for cooking, and of course to train the staff of EcoHotel and RSCN, our both partners in the operation and maintenance of this treatment plant. It is important to mention here that this decentralized wastewater treatment plant will be one of the new pilots in Jordan, demonstrating new close to nature technologies, which is not implemented until now in Jordan. So we are expecting to have such kind of pilot as one of the future examples in Jordan when it comes to efficient management and treatment of wastewater in the country, and also, of course, the reuse of the treated waste. What have been done until now between the last 3 years since the project started, 4 years, we did different concepts. So we started with a conceptual study in 2014, followed by a feasibility study to select areas for our pilot activities. We did a lot of activities regarding capacity development for our stakeholders, especially from the Ministry of Water, Irrigation and Watch. We started in 2017 with these new selected areas in Wadi Hassan and Finan. And for that, we did environmental impact assessment activities, cooperation agreement, which was signed between us and our partner, Borda, RSCN, and EcoHotels. In 2017, we started the capacity development planning workshop for our planned training activities. And also we started development of concepts for decentralized wastewater management and also for the reuse, which we had now already drafted these concepts, and in the coming months these concepts will be finalized. The planning, what we are planning for the coming 2 years, 2018, 2020, is what we have now, the e-learning training course, which we are now running in the second phase. The first phase, which started in April this year. And then we will continue our activities regarding capacity development, especially when the two pilots are constructed, to train the operators how to deal with the sludge drying reed bed, and also with the treatment plant at Finan. We will have also a workshop about business models, and at the same time, we will develop business models how to operate such kind of decentralized wastewater treatment plants. So we are working on that. And finally, so we have to finalize our concept, which I mentioned, about reuse and decentralized wastewater management for climate change adaptation. I think this is all from my side as short presentation for the participants, just to give you background about the GIZ and about the ECC project. And I hope this presentation is helpful for you. And thank you for attention, and wish you a successful e-learning. And we will hear from other in the coming weeks. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ismail Elbaz, for this comprehensive and very concentrated presentation. And I think it's very interesting to see how things are developed mainly in Jordan, and how the topic regarding wastewater and the link to climate change is taking this very, very interesting dimension. So I think now it's the moment to share with our participants if they have any comments. Yes. So far. Also on the technical side, on the organization of the course, regarding the platform that was presented by Dirk, or regarding any question to Dr. Ismail Elbaz, yes, the main project manager of this program. So, dear participants, now the floor is yours. So, if you have any comment or any questions, you can see the board in basically it should be on the right of your screen. You just click on the icon. There is a raised hand icon. You just click on it, and we can see it, and we give you the floor, and we open your mic, and you can speak, or we can talk. So I think now we have 21 participants. And now already we have one participant asking the right to speak, Mr. Iyad. Iyad, marhaban. Please go on.
Hello everyone. First of all, I would like to thank all the organizers of this e-learning training course. I have just two quick questions regarding the presentation. First of all, it have mentioned that through the ET project are working on preparing some kind of concepts for reuse and decentralized wastewater. Is it only for the two case study that under the cover of GIZ, which is Wadi Hassan and Tan, or it's on the national level for the entire country? And is there any intention to develop some kind of standard or local code in partnership with the government for the decentralized wastewater? This is my first question. My second question is the work that planned to be held in November. Is it open for all, or will be announced, or is there a plan for invitation to stakeholders in Jordan or not? Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Iyad. I think the question is mainly for Dr. Ismail Baz. The first one, again, please
Okay.
go on, Ismail.
Thank you, Mustafa. Thank you, Mr. Iyad, for your question. Just if I understood you correctly, the first question regarding the concepts. As I mentioned, we will develop two concepts, which almost finished now, but we are now finalizing them. One will deal with the decentralized wastewater management for climate change adaptation, and the other regarding their use. Both concepts will address the problems and the national, not only for these two pilot areas. We are addressing the problems in Jordan, so they will take all national problems in consideration. So the concept will be provided to the Ministry of Water Irrigation to support them implementing their national water strategy, and especially the decentralized wastewater management policy. So they are focusing national-wide. This is the answer for the first question. I hope this cover your question. The second question, I didn't get it.
Mainly regarding the session on November.
This training, you mean the training workshop? I think November, yes, we are planning by the beginning of November to have a workshop about business models. So we selected different stakeholders, mainly from our counterpart here, Ministry of Water Irrigation, Watch, Yarmouk Water Company, Aqaba, Miyahuna, and also from the private sector, as a brainstorming to discuss with them what we understand under business models for operation and maintenance of decentralized wastewater treatment plants, to help us developing study. We will have a local study, national study to be conducted here in Jordan, and we will have an international expert to conduct comprehensive study about the aspect of business models. So this workshop will just help us to summarize the ideas from our counterpart, to develop TOR for such kind of studies, and to see if we are in the right direction and where are the needs for such kind of business models. So this will be done only one day, and the beginning of November, and the 1st of November, and just only selected participants, which we have already agreed with our counterpart, and they will be invited to join this one. And I hope this answer your question yet.
Yes, very clear. Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Any other question or comment from the participants? So I don't see any hand. I think that seems that everything is okay, everything is clear, and I think also the course platform is also very I think the presentation of Dirk was very clear, and also it's very easy to go through all the different windows of the platform. So if this is okay, I think we can move to the next presentation, and hence we will have another 10 minutes plus 10 minutes. You can try to manage with the presentation, I think. And Mr. Hans Hartung, which is international expert in different aspects related to wastewater and mainly decentralized wastewater, and will give a presentation, or mainly some guidelines and regarding advanced wastewater technologies, and focus on operation and maintenance issues. Hans, are you ready? I will. Hans, are you ready?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. Warm welcome to all the participants in Jordan. I feel privileged to inform you about a project which is funded by the Federal Ministry of Education and Research of the German government. And we talk about Namibia. And here we look at what can we do with advanced technologies to improve wastewater pond systems. I mean, quite often the pond systems I've seen in many countries don't really work very well. And the question is, what could be done to make them better? Here I will show you what you will expect. I will talk about the partners of the project, the status quo, the objectives, and the technical improvement steps that are underway. Here you see the partners. This is the Federal Ministry of Education and Research. It was a general call for universities and private partners to they had to bid, and the whole program is called WAVE, which says future technologies and concepts to increase water availability through water reuse and desalination. And in our case, this the German partners are the University of Darmstadt, the University of Witten-Herdecke, the Applied University of Applied Science in Geisenheim, the Institute for Social Ecological Research, and we have in industry partners. This is formerly Bilfinger Water Technologies, now it's called CNP Cycles, and Gauf Engineers. And in Namibia, we have the Otapi Town Council, the Sub-Basin Management Committee, and the University of Namibia. I show you shortly where we are located. This is Namibia on the southwest of the African continent, and we are quite up in the north, near the border to Angola. The Otapi is a fast-growing town, 7,000 inhabitants. They have a pond system with 2 parallel lines of 4 ponds each, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 evaporation pond. Wastewater is about 700 cubic meters per day, and there's no discharge options. There's no no river. The water can be discharged. So we have a big overload. This evaporation pond is just too small, and you see that the water is flowing into these other pools. And so far, there is no reuse of the treated effluent, and the effluent quality is quite bad, I have to say. So the challenge is if we look here on the bottom, the amount of wastewater is just too big, and the quality of the treated wastewater is too low. Maybe some basic calculations. If we look, we have an evaporation of 2,500 millimeters a year. I think this is probably close to Jordan. We have a rainfall of 500 millimeters a year, pretty concentrated in a few months. So that means we have 2,000 millimeter net evaporation. That means we have about 2 cubic meters evaporation of 1 square meter of pond area. And if you look over the year, that means if we want to evaporate 1 cubic meter wastewater per day, we need about 180 square meter pond area. So if we take all in consideration, we can evaporate about 400 cubic meters per day, but the wastewater inflow is much more. It's between 600 and 800 cubic meter per day. So now the question is, what can we do? So now I think, Dirk, you have arranged the poll question in a better way. Can you? Yeah. So what do you think? The wastewater inflow is almost double of the planned amount. So what, in your opinion, would be a very good solution in this case? You think just make larger ponds for evaporating the water, water reuse for irrigation, or reduction of wastewater? So, for example, to make vacuum toilets for everybody in the town compulsory. So maybe, Mustafa, you can help me with the poll question and ask the participants to put their choice.
Yeah, I think now you have 3 choices. You can just click on one, and so one of the 3 options. And now I think participants, we have already almost 50% have already. So it's progressing. So still 20 seconds, please. The participants who are not yet voted. So we have 60% already. Please make your choices. Okay. I think we can stop here. Almost 70% have already voted because we have 2 minutes. And though we have the results, you can see the results, Hans?
Yes, yeah. We have 17% for larger ponds. I mean, all ideas are feasible. If we do larger ponds, that means we have to do a lot of investment because, as you have seen, we talk about huge areas. If we reuse the water for irrigation, it could be a business model because we could sell the water, this reused water for the farmers who do irrigation. And reduction of wastewater is actually a good idea. It's to look at the demand side and not always on the supply side. But to make vacuum toilets compulsory is a good idea, but it will take a long time. And probably here in this case as well, you have to subsidize the households, which also will be a big investment. But thanks very much for your...
Hans,
yeah, please, Mustafa.
Can I give a question? Can you just
Yes.
can you just please explain a little bit what do you mean by vacuum toilets? I think not all participants have an idea what it be, because I think it's not very usual in Middle East or in Jordan. Can you just give a few words about
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, sure. Vacuum toilets, maybe if you have ever used an aeroplane, this is vacuum toilets, because you can see that in in a plane, they want to keep the weight as little as possible, so they cannot use much water. So in German trains now we have vacuum toilets. In ships, also we see that in some new developments, housing developments, we have vacuum toilets, because you need about 0.5 to 0.8 liters per one go. Where while in the normal toilet, you need about your basin has about 8 or 10 liters. So we reduce the wastewater by a factor of 10, and we can much better deal, because it's not so diluted, the wastewater. But it's still an expensive technology, I think, but it will, with time, it will get more and more common, especially in areas where there is not much water available. But let's go on. Mustafa,
Yes, thank you very much. I think it's clear. Later we will see if the participants have any comments or any question.
sure. Yeah. I mean, I think I have some more time, because as I'm, we go up till 1.5 hours this time, as I understand.
So, yeah. So dear participants, if you have any comments so far or any question, please go on. For the first parts, for the statu quo, for the current situation in Namibia. So I think it was very, the situation was not very brilliant.
Okay, let's go on and find.
Perhaps I can, Hans, I have the
Yes.
privilege, I give a question since I have the mic.
Yes, please.
So talking about this vacuum, so I know
Yeah.
what is the difference between the dry toilets? Is the dry toilet an option to reduce to reduce water?
Sure, it's also a good option, but in this case you have to evacuate yourself the rest that is left. While with the vacuum toilet you have piping system, which is that is not as big as with the water solution, and is much smaller, and it can go up and down, because it's vacuum pumps that suck it from the toilet. So it's much easier to lay into the ground. But compared to dry toilets, it's maybe more, let's say, modern. But dry toilets are, in some cases, really function very well. I have seen in many parts of the world that they also are a good option.
Okay, thank you, Hans.
Okay, let's look at the solution. So in this case, we the project went to water reuse for irrigation, as also generating business opportunities. But it's clear that if you want to reuse the water, the quality has to be much improved. If we look at inflow and effluent just very briefly, we see right now there's almost no difference. COD is from 460 to 360. This is not much. Even phosphorus, nitrogen total coliforms are reduced, but still not very much. The engineering objectives are the improvement of at least one line to produce irrigation water and have a comparison to the existing one. It reduces also methane emissions through preliminary sludge management, which is one point in looking at climate adaptation, or climate, in this case, climate or climate noxious gas reduction. We want to increase the plant capacity and adopt irrigation and cultivation techniques. So the technical improvement steps I want to show you now. First, it was desludging the existing ponds, the pre-treatment to remove the solids, which is the most interesting part, the optimizing the flow in the ponds, and the filtration of the effluent. So here a picture of sludge removal of the pond. So you have to first dewater it, and you take the sludge out. And this is a Google picture, and you see that here the sludge has been, the water has been removed and the sludge. If we look at the sludge, and we see this is from 3 different sites, but we see that there's quite a bit of nitrogen, phosphorus, and calcium in the sludge, which gives a good fertilizer. We checked for heavy metal, and we found it's way below the standards, as you can see. I mean, there's always 2 samples, and these are the standards, and you see they're way below. You see the sludge, I mean, enormous amounts. But now what can you do to work on it better? So there's 2 ideas that go in parallel and also researched. There is the one, the upflow anaerobic sludge blanket method. And then on the other hand, we look at microscreens. And if you look a little bit closer, why do we pre-treat the wastewater? In order to relieve the ponds by removing these substances from the raw water. This reduces the oxygen requirement in the pond and greatly reduces the deposit of sludge. I mean, this is very clear, that form the sediments, and afterwards the removed sludge must be stabilized in order to prevent any health and hygiene problems, greenhouse gas emissions, as well as to avoid disposal problems. So, sorry to, I didn't do this well, but I think you can see the upflow sludge blanket anaerobic pre-treatment of this raw water. We have about this barrel can take about 70 to 80 cubic meters per day. We reduce COD by 50% and 90% less suspended solids. And maybe if we look at the microstrainer has different mesh sizes we can use. We start with 350 micrometer and want to try out how it works. And it separates and dewaters the sludge and makes it more suitable for transportation. It has to be taken in a fermenter, which is there is a a favorite situation in this case, because we have a biogas plant which the sludge is taken into. Just a short overview. The raw water is coming into this buffer tank, and then we have about say 80 cubic meters a day to this upflow anaerobic sludge reactor, and much more. We can go up to 600 cubic meter a day to the microstrainer, and only after that it will go into the primary treatment pond, and then the microstrainer will get the non-stabilized sludge to the fermenter, and we will produce electricity and heat. And in the UASB, we get the stabilized sludge for dry beds.
Hans, sorry, just one remark from the technical side. Please do a full screen presentation.
So this normally does not work with my machine.
Okay, okay. So okay, I'm fine with it.
It works only with the beamer, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, okay. I didn't realize.
Okay.
I mean, there's a second, or in this case, a third step we are doing is to optimize the flow. I mean, right now the raw wastewater enters here and goes out here. So so we want to increase the way the wastewater has to go and put some walls in here. And let's look. The effluent is a problem. We have a problem with algae, which would be no problem if we do irrigation with ditch irrigation or irrigation without drip irrigation or sprinkler. Then algae are no problem. If we want to do drip irrigation, for example, we would need very clear water. So the idea is to test out, and as it seems, it could be quite easy with just a horizontally flown horizontal gravel bed. So gravel will take and the algae, and they decompose and in the gravel bed, as long as there is no light on the water, as you know all that as soon as you have light, the algae will grow a lot. So let's come to the end. Just the results. I mean, just last month, both the micro screen and the UASB have been started, so we cannot talk about results, but we expect better effluent quality, water reuse for irrigation all year long, no unintended overflow. It's beneficial. We want to use it especially for fodder cultivation and reduce fertilizer demand. As you saw, there is a lot of phosphorus and nitrogen in the water, and use the sludge of soil enhancer. There's many other improvement steps. We want to introduce quality assurance of the effluent, as you can imagine. There will be a governance and management structures. There will be a part irrigation and agriculture to look at optimize irrigation and economical assessment and sociological, ecological impact assessment and transfer. So thanks very much, and will be very happy to discuss with you any questions you have. This is just, again, the partners I was mentioning in the beginning from the German side and from Namibian side. And I want to close with what the project says as sort of essence. They say wastewater is not a waste, but can be a resource for irrigation water, creating opportunities for jobs and earnings. Thanks very much for listening, and I'm very curious about your questions and looking forward to that.
Thank you very much, dear Hans, for sharing this experience from Namibia. I think it's quite interesting, not only to see the technologies of the solutions, but also to see how different people in different parts of the world, even they have similar problems, but they have similar ways of thinking and different ways to tackling the problem of wastewater. So
sure, yeah.
We'll see if there are any questions or any comments from participants.
Sure. Just one question from my side, Mustafa, if it's possible.
Yeah, please, Doctor.
Yeah, thanks, Hans. Really very interesting presentation. And just what is coming in my mind, try to compare the situation in Namibia to Jordan.
Sure.
And we have two things, which is we are facing two problems here in Jordan regarding first effluent standard when it comes to irrigation. They are still the Jordanian standard 893. My colleague Ahmed can correct me if I am wrong. Is very strict in regards to nitrate concentration when it comes to applying treated wastewater for irrigation purposes, especially the restricted irrigation. And the other thing is regarding the social acceptance of treated wastewater treatment plants. And Jordan is not easy to construct a treatment plant. You need the approval and the acceptance from the population, and we were always facing problems with that. How is the situation in Namibia, Hans, regarding the effluent standard for when it comes to irrigation, the irrigation standard in regards to nitrate and acceptance? Maybe if you can give some information about that. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, the effluent standard, I'm not too familiar, but I know there is another plant that was the predecessor, and they produced some effluent that is used for vegetables and all that, and it seems to work very well. But unfortunately, I cannot tell you the values, but I will be next week in Namibia and I will inquire. This is a good hint that I inquire, and then actually I can put it into the course. Social acceptance was a problem in the beginning. I know that that other research project was about 10 years, and in the beginning it was quite a problem, but at the moment it seems that people see that I mean, these vegetables, they grow perfectly, and and they are also by the university controls them. And now for this new project, because it's quite a huge quantity of wastewater, it will be only for fodder, because in the area, this is a very dry area, probably comparable to Jordan, and there's a lot of cattle, so I mean, it will be year-round irrigation for fodder for cattle, so that also the standards will not be as high as in the for this previous project. But it's a good hint. I will inquire and get at least also the values they get for the first project, because this is already working for years and producing vegetables all year round.
Thanks, Hans. The same question goes in the direction of sludge also. Sludge applying for soil fertilizer. Is there any restriction for that?
I mean, the restriction is they check especially about heavy metals, which you saw in the beginning was, I mean, there's no way near these WHO standards. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thanks, Hans. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, Hans and Dr. Elbaz, for the question. And we have already two participants that want to give their comments or questions. First, we have, sorry for don't pronouncing the names correctly, Gina or Gina Arabi. Please go on.
Hello.
Hello.
Please, you can talk. Yeah, you can hear you.
I want to ask, in a pre-treatment for solids removal, which is better and has high efficiency, a USP or microscreen method?
I didn't quite, the voice was not very clear, but the question is about the treatment. You want to know the difference about the two. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, we cannot say yet. I mean, this is also one part of the research to try and compare the two. I mean, these microscreens, which have not been used, I think 10 years ago. Now it comes more and more also in wastewater. And the UASB, which is, I mean, a little bit more complicated. If you see all the piping of this vessel, and it takes a long time until it really is stable. So they started it, I think 3 weeks ago, and with inoculation from another treatment plant. But it's not a stable situation. So I think this is not so easy, and you need experienced personnel to really keep it going in a stable situation. While microscreening is probably easier. The problems there at the moment is that they don't have the drinking water for cleaning the screens, but process water, and the process water apparently is not very, very clean. So the nozzles seem to clog now and then. So the problem now is to try and treat the process water so that this doesn't happen. You see, there is always it's nice to design, but if you are in reality, especially with wastewater, I think all of you are aware who deal with wastewater, it's a little bit more complex reality than theory. Okay, thank you. I hope I have sort of answered your question.
Thank you very much, Hans. And Mr. Ahmed Sabh.
Hello, everybody. I just have a question regarding the fodder crops. Is there any alfalfa among the fodder crops irrigated with the treated wastewater? This is the first question. The second question regarding the safety of the wastewater use in crops, some vegetables, as I understood from the presenter. Is there any monitoring programs implemented regarding the the soil salinity build up, for example, just to see what the long-term impact of this reuse, and also to monitor the quality of the vegetables irrigated with treated wastewater.
Yes, thanks very much for your question. As I remember, alfalfa is not among the fodder crops yet. I will inquire when I come down next week what they are planning. As you can imagine, as it is a research project, the effluent quality, I mean, here in this case, we are still at the beginning, but in this other project, which is going on for some years, an own lab has been established to monitor the the effluent quality, and also there is the University of Applied Science of Geisenheim, which is an agricultural university. They look at the crops and the soil. They are especially and then in this new project they're looking for the optimal irrigation planning. But this is well taken care of because I mean, there's in a research project you have to be quite strict, I guess, and do comprehensive monitoring.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ahmed, for your question. And we have another comment or question from Dr. Noor Al-Kharabsha. Please, Dr. Noor, the mic is open, you can talk.
Unfortunately, we can't hear Mustafa.
Yes, we don't hear. And
a problem with the microphone?
No, Dr. Noor, do you hear me? You have a comment or question? Please just talk, your mic is open. Yeah, I think he has a problem and he sent the question. I will try to read the question. Sorry, not using mic. So he has problem. Please just write your question and I will read it for hands. Any other comment or question from the other participants?
Not at the moment, as it looks. I hope Dr. Noor can write his question so that we
have another. We have Ahmed Sabh. Ahmed Sabh is back. Yes, Ahmed, please.
Yes. My question is regarding the how the water surplus is managed, because, as you know, the crop itself has the variation in the irrigation demand in the over the year, and when you let's say cultivate the crops, you take into or you let's say cultivate the crops or the area based on the maximum, let's say, water requirements which comes during the summer. So is there, I'm sure that there should be water surplus. My question, how do you manage the surplus? Especially, you said in your presentation that there is no any option for discharge.
Yeah. But, you know, you have seen there is still this very large evaporation pond, which can be used as a buffer. I mean, it only takes half of the current intake, but the irrigation demand will be much greater, and I think this makes it flexible. So if there is less irrigation demand, it always can be put in the evaporation pond and taken from there in the seasons where there is much higher demand. I mean, this is what they will try, and this agricultural university is leading that, how to adapt best the demand and the supply for irrigation. But sure, this is a question. The irrigation demand will not be the same every month or every day, but I think this is a question of agricultural planning as well too, and the buffer will still be the big pond there.
Okay, have you finished, Hans?
Yes.
Okay, we have Sayed Salah.
I'm Sayed Saleh. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Hans, for your presentation. I would like to ask, in Namibia, are they using only stabilization bonds, or they have any technologies, other technologies like activated sludge or other? Only they use only stabilization bonds?
Actually, mostly, almost all these small towns have these stabilization ponds, and we see that they all don't work properly. That's why this research came into being. Only the capital Windhoek, you might be surprised, because 33% of the drinking water of Windhoek is actually comes from wastewater. There is actually 20 steps, 20 different processes to gain to treat the wastewater, and then part of it will be cleaned and put in a lake where the drinking water is taken off. And I mean, it's I mean, there is a few other towns around the world, but this is one of the famous projects where wastewater is treated on such a high level that it's used for drinking water, partly 33% at the moment, and as it looks, they have to increase it to probably in the future up to 50%.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mustafa, can I just add to this question, because it's really interesting?
Please, doctor.
33% you said, Hans,
yes,
is used for drinking water purposes from wastewater.
Yeah. Yes.
But what kind of treatment? What are the? Because from my background as a microbiologist, I have a lot of concern when it comes to drinking water, as you know.
Yeah.
What are the treatment process?
Look, I mean, I was once in the plant and looked at it. I mean, it's incredible. It's Veolia who built it, and I mean, it's 20 different steps.
Okay.
I think I'll try to get a schematic and send it to you, because it's really interesting, because I think it's worldwide they're looking at, especially at Windhoek, at this sort of experiment, and but they do it for more than 10 years, and I mean, you can imagine that it's monitored meticulously.
Okay. And you are sure that they are using some monitoring program, because what about the pathogenic viruses, the interpathogenic viruses? This is a big problem, as you know, especially when it comes to the wastewater. But they are doing monitoring programs.
Yeah, and they have
program.
I mean, there is an international consortium which is also responsible for the operation, and yeah, I mean it's it's amazing if you go there, and then there's a next step, and then you go to the next step. So
It's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting. Okay, thank you.
Okay, and now we have the question from Dr. Noor. So the question is, which is more preferable for irrigation purposes, the reused wastewater by USB or microstrainer, and why?
Yeah, this is a good question. We just can't tell you at the moment, because it's it's actually a research project. We want to find out in this specific case, and we want to really monitor the two systems and get results, but it will take at least 2-3 years, because it's just starting in last month, and I think if you want to get also the irrigation and agricultural seasons are usually half yearly or yearly, so to really say something, it will take a while. But what I can say right now is that micro screening is probably much easier to handle, but still there is problems with to find the right mesh size and all that. But it looks that micro screening seems to be the easier solution, let's say, and but you see, it's only a pre-treatment. I mean, we not only do the micro screening, but it's the waste stabilization pond afterwards. That is also part of the whole system.
Okay, thank you very much, Hans. We have another question or comment from Asghar. Please, the mic is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you for presentation from Dr. Ismail and Hans as well. My question goes to Hans, and I see in the slides to remove the sludge from the pond, you have to dewater the pond, then you can remove the sludge. Is it not a good idea to have like a thickener at the pre-treatment to separate the sludge and the overflowed water? Then the sludge goes to a tank and can be treated by a unplanned sludge drying reed bed or planted sludge drying reed bed, and the overflowed water can go to a stabilized pond. I mean, to separate the sludge water at the pre-treatment point. Why should we dewater the pond and then to remove the sludge?
Sure. This
Hans,
is yes.
In the same time, can you just show the slide? I think it's number 20 or 21. Slide number.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
The slide where you have the solution. No, I think it's 20,
13,
21.
27, 13.
21 is this. But look, the
This
idea.
one?
I mean,
No,
this is
13.
the problem if you only have waste stabilization ponds that and you don't do anything as pre-treatment, and that is the aim of the research, that we find out what kind of pre-treatment to prevent all these huge sludge coming into the ponds, and then after some years you have to take off all the sludge. Sure, this is the question, and this is why this research project came into existence, because of all these ponds. When they are full of sludge, then it's such a huge effort to desludge it that people usually don't shy away, and then nothing works anymore. So the question is how to take the sludge off, and this is what we try to do with either microscreening, which is quite effective, as we have seen, or this UASB. There is maybe other methods like IMOF tanks or whatever, but okay, these two have been selected because we see all over the world there's so many wastewater stabilization ponds, and all of them have problems. What you say with sludge piling up, and then you have to get it dry, and it's a huge effort to take it out, as you can see. Thanks. Yeah, this is exactly the point why we try to take as many sediments and as much out of the wastewater as we can before it reaches the ponds.
Yeah. So thank you, Hans. We have another written question from Ahmed Ghalban. He said, I want to ask about the Namibian standards that allow the treated wastewater to be used in irrigation. I think this is the same question as Dr. Ismail.
Yeah, I will put them in when I'm back from Namibia end of next week. I don't know them by heart because this is not my area, but I will check them, no problem. Okay. I can't answer now.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hans. Any other comments or question? No, I think
yes,
that's
Mustafa, and we are almost.
We have one question, one comment. Lina, I think we take the last one from Lina. Lina, please open your mic. Demute yourself. Yes, now it's good.
Thank you, Mustafa, and thank you, Dirk, for the nice presentation. In fact, I'm not sure if I missed something, but my question: why have you thought about solve the problem of the effluent from the stabilization pond by using a pre-treatment, not considering that this stabilization pond as a pre-treatment and then applied post-treatment?
Yes, I mean, we just discussed that if you look at what you see on your screen, these huge amounts of sludge, and the long time it takes to dry for the pond and to desludge it. So maybe the idea of pre-treatment is easier than post-treatment, because then still you have to desludge the ponds, and we have seen that the ponds don't work very well. As you remember, when I look at this slide here, you find that the quality of the inflow and effluent is not very much different. So and we think, and we are mostly sure, that with pre-treatment you can enhance the effectiveness of the waste stabilization ponds very much more than they are now, and they will work much more effectively.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Hans. I think we have two other questions. No, okay. The first one is not question, it's just comment from Dad Dabbas. Very happy of she said that thank you very much for this informative presentation. And we have a question from Razgar. Said, is there any possibility to use chemical substance to enhance or increase sedimentation process in UASB?
Yeah, I'm not too familiar, Mustafa. You might be knowing more about UASB. I'm in the governing board for the project, so I don't go into too many details. But can you help me?
No, I don't have any knowledge about using any additive for the process. I think it's just natural
Yeah,
or forced process. In my knowledge, we don't use any chemicals unless any one of the participants have any other experience. You know, we are almost innovating. That is why wastewater treatment and decentralized and small size is very important. We are innovating all the time.
yeah, exactly. Very good.
Yeah, it's
Very
why
good
it's
comment.
very
Yeah.
exciting. Razgar, you have any knowledge about this? Okay, we will give the floor to give. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I actually have no any like technical experience as it, but in the lab I used some chemical in during my master, so I am not really in mind to tell you the exact additive we used, but there should be some additive to accelerate the sedimentation process. But could maybe Hans tell us a little bit the impact of the shape or geometry of the tank itself? Because the geometry of the tank, if it's like a cylinder, or if it would be like a cone or pyramid, it also has some kind of influence on the sedimentation process. So it would be really interesting to know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you see my screen. I mean, this is a tank. Let me see here. Yeah.
Like a cylinder.
It's a tank. It's by a company which has a lot of experience with the UASB, that has been installing it in this case in Namibia. And okay, I think they also try to improve and get some benefit from the research and see how it works. I only know that within 3 weeks now, they still don't have a really stable performance yet. So you see, it's as you say, it's not so easy.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hans, for sharing this experience for Namibia, and also thank you very much for answering all those questions, and also for the interventions, and also for the compliments from Dr. Elbaz. Thanks also to Dirk for his presentation and introducing the course and the platform. I think this is the end of our webinar. Thank to all participants for contributing, and we are looking forward to your contributions in the platform. And it was very, I think, a very high level starting, and we are looking forward another exciting webinar next week. I think it's by Dr. Ahmed Sabh. And see you next week.
Next week by Borda will be providing.
So then the week after.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Dr. Ismail and Dirk and Hans, you want to say final word for this webinar?
Yeah. Thanks very much. Also, Mustafa, for the excellent moderation, and thanks for all the questions, which always are helpful. You know, in this research project, you don't have your focus on everything, but it helps me to look at some of the points you raised while I'm in Namibia next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr.
The same
Ismail?
from my side, Mustafa, thanks also for your excellent moderation. Thanks for Hans, really very interesting presentation. Dirk, also all my thanks, and also for the participant. Yes, I have the impression it's very high quality discussion by this webinar, and I hope the coming webinars will be the same, with a very strong discussion and a lot of information. Wish all the participant good successful webinars the coming 3 weeks. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Dirk, close.
thank you also very much. Final words from me. Thank you very much to my panelists, to the moderator, and to you participants. We look very much forward for next week, when Border will be presenting an example from Jordan, actually, Wadi Hassan. I think it will be very interesting for all of us to hear more about this, because they have constructed this site, or they are at least engaged in the construction process. Okay, thank you very much, and bye-bye. And as always, you can watch the video afterwards, after the webinar, from tomorrow on, I think. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bye.